What's up, Nikki? All right, I just went live on the socials, so I am streaming on YouTube and X right now. Give it a few moments for some people to jump in. Regular session ends in 5 seconds. Markets are getting a little push here at the end of the day. What's up, Breckle? There's SPY forming a little cup here. This is the 5-minute chart, but nice push by the markets at the end of the day to kind of erase some of the selling that's been going on today. SPY had a few legs down. Opening bell, leg down there. Tried to retrace back up in reverse, got rejected. Second leg down. Tried to retrace again in reverse, got rejected again. Finally, we got a real reversal on our hands. What's up, everybody? Swinging Bull here with PB Alerts. KJ, how you doing? Good to see you. Markets just flipped pretty good here to the bull side. Most of my indicators are flipping green, so that's good. Market internals closed the session bullish, even though overall S&P was down 0.5%. NASDAQ was down 1%. The Dow was down 0.09%. VIX is up over 16 now, up 5.5% today. But I like the close we just had. I really do. NVIDIA kind of pumped a little bit into close, clawing back almost half the selling it had from earlier today. SoFi had a nice move going into the end of the day. Things are looking good going into tomorrow. We'll see. So welcome everyone. Swinging Bull here, PB Alerts. Welcome to another earnings stream. And today we have H.B. Fuller Company, ticker symbol FUL. And then we have Compass Diversified Holdings, is CODI, ticker symbol CODI. Obviously, H.B. Fuller's the better of the two companies. There really wasn't a lot of stocks to choose from this week for earnings. I'll kind of show everyone here. So this is today. It's only six report, actually only 5 reporting after the close. Then tomorrow there's only JB Hunt, so that's the only one I'm covering tomorrow. And then there's one company reporting after the close on Friday, but other than that, we got these two. So what was interesting, some of these I do the earnings on. Sometimes I've never traded before, so it's always fun to kind of dive into the companies, see what they're all about, see what kind of condition or health the company's in. And, if it's something I like, I put it on my close watch list, and maybe I can formulate a trade around the stock, make some money. So let's just go through each of these just real quick. H.B. Fuller reports at 4:05 p.m. Eastern, so just in another few minutes. And the forecast EPS $1.24, and the forecast revenue $901 million. So this is just a quick look at their annual chart here. They've been kind of trading sideways for a bit, like a $10 range, 55 to 65. They're just kind of bouncing like a ping pong ball in that range a little bit. But they closed over 65 today. Let's go. Let's look at the other one, which is CODI. They report at 4:15, so 10 more minutes on them. So we got a little bit of time to burn before they report. Forecast EPS 64 cents. Forecast revenue 677 million. And a little look at their annual chart. They had a pretty big gap down in May that they haven't recovered yet. And they were trading 15, 20 bucks earlier in the year, and gap down in May. They've been trading sideways, like $5 to $7 or $8, just kind of trading sideways. Let's go back to the sticks here. Go to Webull real quick. Let's talk about FUL, FUL, Fuller HB Company. So those that don't know, they're in the chemicals industry, HB Fuller Company. And they're a pure play adhesives company. Operates as a formulator, manufacturer, and marketer of adhesives, sealants, and other specialty chemical products. They have a health and consumable adhesive segment as well. So just a little bit about the company. This is the chart on the left here. Let's see here. They do have a positive PE ratio, so that's good. EPS is positive at 2. They pay a small dividend of 1.4% according to Webull, key statistics. Free float, 53 million. Closed the regular session at $64.72 today, down 2.3%, as was most of the stocks today. There were a few outliners that were green. UMAC was green. Intel was green again. Intel was up 3%. UMAC was up 10%. I've been running the wheel strategy on UMAC. CoreWeave was green again. So there are a few outliers that were green. Mara was green, up almost 1.5%. DraftKings was green. So I know the overall markets were selling off for the majority of the day, but this end of day comeback on SPY and Triple Q. Very nice to see that going into tomorrow. So back to HB Fuller Company. It's a chemical company. Let's see if they're profitable or not. Yeah, they have 3 back-to-back quarters of positive net income and trending up. So that's good. They got 62% debt to asset. Over 100 people tuning in now. Good to see everybody. What's up, Mad Maverick? One of our other coaches over here popped in the Discord stream. So 62% debt to asset. That's good. Cash and equivalents, 122 million as of August 30th. That's a good position for them. It's 4:07 p.m. So let me zoom in on the smaller time frames here and see what we got. All right, so we do got a little bit of volatility here. Let me see if we got some data, because HB Fuller Company is supposed to report at 4:05. So let me get the data for everybody. Let me just check their investor relations page and see if they dropped a press release. That's what I'll do. And I was saying on Tuesday yesterday, that this week's kind of a light earnings week. The companies that are reporting don't really got big names or big following. So we'll make the best of it. But I do, like I say, when I come across a company that is unfamiliar, I do like taking a little deep dive into their, do some due diligence into their financials and fundamentals and just kind of see what they do and how they are performing as a company. And like I say, if I see something I like, I'll put it on a close watch and then I can trade it. So yeah, looks like we do got a press release that just dropped right here. Let's go ahead and click on that. And again, their forecast was $1.24 for the EPS and $901 million for the revenue. So we'll go back here, and I'll keep it on the left over here. And let me get that press release. So far they're having a negative reaction. They are down 1.3%. They were down 2.19% today. So they're adding to the selling that was going on during the regular session. But let's just see what happened here, okay? So fiscal year 2025 net income, 152 million. Okay. And let's see here. Okay, so yeah, they missed on looks like they missed on revenue. Let me look at a few other things here. They did, it looks like they did pull in a positive net income of 30 million. So that's good. That's up 15% year over year. Let me look at, okay, so here it is here. Net revenue was 895 million. Okay, so they did miss the forecast for the revenue. Oops, let me blow that back up. Forecast was a little over 900 million. So they missed on revenue. And let's see, so that actually was down 3.1% year over year. Price starting to come back up a little bit now. Let's look at a few other things. Okay, net income was 30 million. We already went over that. And the adjusted EPS was $1.28. So it looks like they beat EPS. The forecast for the EPS was $1.24. So they beat that. And EPS is up 39.1% versus the prior year. So that's good and all, but I think investors are more concerned about revenue growth, and there was none. They were actually down on revenue year over year. Lee's cracking me up over here. So let me look at a few other things real quick here, and then we'll find out when they're going to do their earnings call and what time it is, and then we'll jump over to the other company, CODI, CODI. So yeah, just like I expected, little graphic here from AI Stock Savvy. So you can see they beat EPS, but they missed revenue. Okay, so they didn't miss revenue by a lot, but they did miss it nonetheless. And like I said, that was down 3% year over year. But EPS had a nice double-digit growth year over year. But investors are probably more concerned about revenue. That's why we're kind of seeing a negative reaction here. Let me pull this back over. A little bit of commentary from the higher ups before they actually do the web call. This is from the CEO, Celeste Maston. And they say our execution and agility in the quarter and throughout the year generated double-digit EPS growth. Yeah, I figured the CEO is probably going to highlight the double-digit EPS growth and probably not going to talk about the revenue miss and the revenue being down 3% year over year. So she might sugarcoat the EPS, but we'll see. So she says our execution agility in the quarter and throughout the year generated double-digit EPS growth. And at the top end of our full year guidance range amidst an unpredictable economic backdrop and challenging demand landscape. Okay, so at least she's admitting that the demand has been a little challenging. So kind of hinting to revenue issues. And Celeste says, during this time, we helped our customers navigate this environment successfully, providing them with material optionality and flexibility while ensuring consistent quality and reliable availability wherever in the world they choose to make their products. These efforts, which strengthen our partnerships and enhance H.B. Fuller's competitive positioning, are reflected in our improved profitability and sustained margin expansion. That all sounds fine and dandy, but I think the kicker here is them missing revenue and there being no revenue growth. Investors don't like that. Let's see what else they're saying here. Balance sheet and working capital. Net working capital in the fourth quarter of fiscal 2025 declined 41 million sequentially versus the third quarter. As a percentage of annualized net revenue, net working capital decreased 120 basis points. Okay, here's some of their outlook. Okay, 2026 guidance, basically net revenue for fiscal year 2026 is expected to be flat to up to 2%, with organic revenue expected to be approximately flat versus fiscal 2025. Yeah, so there's no growth in their guidance. Look, they're down a little more now. Yeah, they're down almost 4% now. So they're not showing any growth with the revenue. Now there is some growth with the EPS, but like I say, revenue is probably more important, and no growth there. It actually was down. In the 2026 outlook doesn't look to be exciting at all. kind of a downer because they're just saying everything's, going to be flat as far as revenue goes. So I don't think investors are really taking this positively. The actual conference call, believe it or not, it's not until tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. That's when they're going to do their conference call for H.B. Fuller. I mean, it's a $60 stock, so I know there's investors out there that probably want to see it, that have a position with them, but not looking good with the guidance. I could probably see some support around 60 right here where it was trading sideways. Turn the volume profile. This is the daily chart, by the way, right here. And yeah, you can see quite a bit of volume came in here around $60. See this little node sticking out? I don't know if you can see this light blue line right here, but that's where the post-market price action is right now. And also, let me post that link to their investor relations page just so everyone, whoever's interested in H.B. Fuller, they can get to it quickly. I'll put it on the bottom of my screen real quick. There we go. Leave it up there for a little bit. But yeah, $60. I like it. It's since it's getting a negative reaction, I'd be looking maybe to take a nibble on it around 60. There's a few other levels here, but let me zoom out a little more. I think around $60 would be a nice price for this stock. Probably see another level around here in the mid 50s. We post this link in the Discord as well for my Discord people. That'll take you to H.B. Fuller's investor relations page where I'm looking at some of this data. So yeah, I'm just going to draw these support levels out. I'm going to put one at 60, and then I'm going to put another one mid 50s. It's like 55 to 56. Those are where the deals are on this stock, I think. That's where buying has come in before at those levels at pretty good volume. So not financial advice, but me personally, I'd be interested in it around 60 and then maybe, save some dry powder on the side, maybe add a little bit more around 55. And then you could probably just keep a nice stop loss on it after that. And also, do they have the options chain? Yeah, they got monthly options. Not a lot of volume or open interest on this though. A little bit of volume on this Friday's expiration, but that's because they had earnings today. So not really much there on the options chain. So this just might be a equity play for me. And like I say, they do pay a dividend. Looks like they pay quarterly. Okay, so they just paid their last one in October. So they'll probably going to be paying their next dividend here soon, I would think. Let's go back to TradingView real quick. Okay, so we got some levels where I think would be a good deal on this stock. And to summarize H.B. Fuller's earnings data, they did do a good job beating EPS. It was actually a nice beat there, but they failed on revenue. They did not meet the revenue forecasts. They missed them. And the revenue, there was no revenue growth. It was actually down 3% year over year. And there were some other red flags I saw as well, but overall, investors aren't taking it positively, and they're going to do their earnings web call tomorrow morning at 10:30 p.m. East or 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Excuse me. That's tomorrow morning, about an hour after the regular session bell rings. So if anyone wants to join that call tomorrow morning, screenshot that link on the bottom of my screen, or you can see the link in the comments I posted, and it'll take you right there. But yeah, I think we're good with H.B. Fuller. I got some lines drawn out on my bigger time frames, and I'll keep an eye on it and see what it does. Let's go to the next one. And this is, we me go to over here real quick. Ticker symbol is CODI, C-O-D-I. This is the smaller stock over here trading around $5. So obviously H.B. Fuller is a better company, but let's just take a look at it real quick. It did get a little volatile there. Now they were scheduled to release their earnings at 4:15, so their data should be out. So let me see if I can find that. And also their forecast EPS was 64 cents and forecast revenue 677 million. I mean, both of these companies bring in a ton of revenue. It just goes to show you that just because you bring in a lot of revenue, it really doesn't mean that much, you know, on the surface. Just look at H.B. Fuller brings in, you know, 800 to 900 million in revenue. They're trading in the 60s. And look at this stock CODI. They got almost 700 million in revenue, and they're trading, they're almost a penny stock, you know, below $5, but they're trading around 5. But let's see what's up with them. CODI, so Compass Diversified is the name. They're an investment holding company. So they are engaged in owning and managing a diverse set of defensible middle market businesses across the branded consumer, industrial, healthcare, and critical outsource services sectors. Okay. Looks like they do a lot of business in the industrial industry, outdoor and adventure enthusiasts, military special operations, law enforcement, firefighter, EMS. Okay, yeah. I could see maybe this might get popular with all the protests going on. But nonetheless, they closed the regular session at $5.39. They were up 3% today. So in the bigger pic, this is the 1 minute chart. I hate the 1 minute chart. Let me go 5 minute. In the bigger picture, they're not really down much at all. They're up 3% on the day. They did wick down to 4.99 just a few moments ago, but they've come all the way back up. There is a sell side imbalance on the order book, but let's see what how they did with their earnings. 64-cent EPS, 677 million revenue. Okay. Let me take a look. Okay, they double missed. They double missed. I think this price action on CODI is just a little spotty. It's a little spotty. A little skeptical for me. They only had 1 million volume today. It's interesting because their average volume over 3 months is almost 2 million volume. They only did 1 million volume so far today. So they were definitely trading on low volume compared to their average. You can see how spotty and barcodey the price action was today, right? All these little gaps and just kind of looks all funky. So I wouldn't trust the price action too much right now because it's trading on low volume, but their earnings don't look good. Okay, I'll go over some of this real quick. I'll post the results in the comments. They missed EPS and they missed revenue by quite a bit. So, you know, like I said, it wicked down to 4.99. It did come back up to the 530s, 535 right now. I don't foresee it staying there for much longer. I think it does come back down again eventually. But here's their results. They missed EPS by a lot, and they missed revenue by almost $200 million. I put these results in the Discord for everyone. This is for CODI. So double miss on CODI, not looking good. And they took a loss, a net loss of 74 million. Okay. And they're attributing some of the loss to higher interest expenses and continued losses from Lugano. I guess that's a project they have or something. So yeah, not looking good. Here's a nice graphic from the earnings time. And you can see, they did not hit the revenue forecast. They missed the EPS by a ton. They missed EPS by 215%. And they missed revenue by 28%. So not looking in the net income, they got crushed on that net income. Now this is TradingView. Sometimes the candlesticks are funky on TradingView, but I don't see why they're up here at 539. Like I said, they're trading on low volume. Yeah, look, TradingView says different. TradingView says they're at 539. Webull says they're at 535. So getting a little conflicting data here between the two platforms. But like I say, the level 2 order book is super stacked on the sell side right now. So we'll see. I don't see this staying up here for long with the data that I'm seeing. So we just got to wait for the spotty price action to go away, and then we'll probably get the real move. But technically, it's red, I would say. TradingView has them at break even right now, but trust me, this price action is pretty sloppy because of low volume. It'll probably come back down. And you can see the chart of their revenue over all these consecutive quarters. They were doing pretty good from Q4 of 2023 leading up to Q4 of 2024. That's like one whole year of data there, and their revenue was increasing really well. It's trending up, and then they kind of fell off, and it looks like the past 3 quarters they've been stuck down here in the 400 million revenue range when they were above 600 million, and the forecasts for today were forecasted to be over 677 million, around there. So we'll just have to wait and see for when the real move comes in. Let's see when they're going to do their call. 1 second here. And then if we've got some time at the end, we'll probably look at a few things in the Discord. So let me just type this in here. CODI, Investor Relations. I'll see if there's any commentary from the CEO or anything like that. Usually they release a few statements before the call. And here it is here. This is the actual earnings call. Here's the press release right here. I want to go to this latest news right here. Okay, there we go. All right, January 14th, which is today. And this is some commentary from the CEO. His name is Elias Sabo. They say, I'm pleased to report that with today's filing, we are now fully current with our SEC filings for 2025. Okay, it looks like would they fall behind on their SEC filings and get like a demerit or something from the SEC. That's an interesting commentary for the CEO, just to come out and say that, hey, just want everyone to know we're now back in compliance with our filings. So now they're fully current. So I guess they fell behind on a couple filings or something. And then he says, and we are in full compliance with the periodic reporting requirements of our credit facilities and bond indentures. Okay, that's quite the statement. Okay, so then he continues to say, I would expect him to talk about the actual earnings data, not the fact that they were behind on SEC filings and they caught up. Give me something more exciting than that. If I was a CODI investor. But he goes on to say, excluding Lugano, and that's the thorn in their side right now. That's what they were attributing some of their misses, the missing of the revenue and stuff like that. Keep talking about Lugano. So excluding Lugano, our 8 operating subsidiaries continue to deliver solid performance in an uncertain macroeconomic environment. Okay, I feel like I've read that already in another post. We are focused on executing against our strategic priorities with the objective of delivering consistent long-term shareholder value by partnering with our management teams to drive performance, invest for growth, and enhance profitability. And then they go on to talk about their outlook. They're going to do their conference call today. So unlike that concrete company who's waiting until tomorrow morning to do it, they're going to do their call here in a little bit, in about 30 minutes. It's at 5 p.m. Eastern. So let me go back to their investor relations homepage. I'll put that link in the comments. If anyone wants to listen to their web call, that starts in about 30 minutes. Here's the link right here. And Pookie posted some more data over here on Discord. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't even see that. So they had a delist notice. Oh, Pookie, he's another one of our coaches over here for the lifetime members. Pulled up the SEC filings, and they got a delist notice on January 6th. See, Pookie, that's why the CEO just came out straight away to kind of put that dog to rest. Is his first statement in the commentary was, "Hey, just want to let everyone know we're back up to we're back up to speed with our filings." That's funny. So yeah. Now they're fully compliant now. He wants to make sure everyone knows that, right? and you know what? Maybe that has something to do with why they're not, selling off right now. Because maybe investors were worried they weren't going to be back in compliance, and now they are. So maybe investors are holding their position. Who knows? But that's interesting. Okay. So I got the link for the earnings web call, which starts in 30 minutes. Once you get to that link right here, right on the homepage, just scroll down and you can see right here, the hyperlink says listen to webcast. I'll click on that just to confirm the time. Yep, 5 p.m. Eastern right here. Okay. So that'll get you into the web call. But personally, not financial advice, I'm not really a fan of this stock. CODI, they their earnings were not good in my opinion, and the whole getting the delist notice on January 6th, that's a little concerning. I'm on the daily chart right now. Have they ever done a reverse split or anything? Let me see. No, I don't see any reverse splits. And it's interesting, they used to pay a dividend pretty consistently. They did. And it looks like they discontinued the dividend because they're losing a ton of money every quarter. Yeah, see, you see the break in the dividends here. Last dividend they paid was in April. Actually, April of 2025. So actually, it wasn't that long ago. Maybe like they stopped paying it like 8 months ago. But yeah, they're definitely not paying a dividend anymore. Maybe they reinstate it when business gets better, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. Oh, okay, thanks for the clarification. Just a little more to add about this ticker, this stock CODI. Pookie, one of our other coaches over here in the Discord, says they got the delist notice because they failed to have their annual shareholder meeting in 2025. You know what? That's probably where this big gap down came from right here, Pookie. Yep, right here in May. That's exactly where it's, because they were trading at $17 a share. And then they failed to have their annual shareholder meeting. They probably made an announcement that they're not doing it. And then boom, the stock took a massive hit on that day, gap down extremely far down. And yeah, so that's all it's all adding up now and making sense, isn't it? Why they're down here trading in the 5s when they used to be trading up here in the 20s. They were trading in the 20s for quite a while. A big portion of 2024 they were in the 20s. Very, very interesting. But yeah, as far as my opinion goes, not really a fan of the stock. I try to only trade stocks that have good fundamentals and good financials. I mean, even just a quick due diligence check. I mean, you don't even have to do a deep dive, but just try and make sure that the companies you're investing in, especially your long-term holders, you're trying to at least make sure they have a positive PE ratio, a positive EPS. If they pay a dividend, even better, but that's not necessarily necessary. And a low debt to asset ratio, positive net income. I mean, just those 4 or 5 things right there would be a nice, easy checklist that you could go by. That's just kind of how I can do a quick scan of a company and kind of see how they're doing. But those are very simple things to quickly find out. You can find out within a few minutes if you know where to look and you're using the right programs. And most broker platforms are going to have that information at your fingertips. So, but yeah, this is some of the things I tell my Discord members to keep their eye out for, especially if it's going to be a long-term hold. Now, of course, we can have a small percentage of our portfolio for speculative type trades and maybe companies that you really like that don't necessarily have good fundamentals or financials yet. Because, a lot of companies, it takes them, especially if they're new, sometimes it takes a few years to get off the ground, right? So that's like nothing out of the ordinary. But if you're looking at a stock that's been listed for 10 years and their fundamentals and financials are still crappy, you might want to reassess that analysis a little bit. There's definitely better stocks out there that have, a positive trajectory with their fundamentals and their revenue and growth. And you can simply look at a lot of the year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter numbers on a rolling scale of like 5 years, past 5 years or something like that. And you can tell if they're, are they, slowly getting better as a company? Are they slowly getting worse as a company? So like I say, just some things I tell my Discord members over here, easy things you can look for to help make your trading journey smoother, right? This doesn't have to be as hard as a lot of people make it out to be. The number one thing I see is people are just trading the wrong stocks. They're trading, and they have too much capital going to speculative type trades when, not financial advice, but me personally, the bulk of my capital is not only going to stocks that I like, that I think are going to be okay, in the long run. But I also use strategies that are safer as well. Like I do a lot of spread trades, which obviously are defined risk strategies. And, I know what the deal is before I even enter the trade. I know what the possible scenarios are and the possible outcomes as far as the math behind the trade goes. What's the most I can lose? What's the most I can make? With spread trades, that's what you get. You got defined risk and defined gain strategies. And that's just the way I prefer to trade because it's a lot safer in my mind. But again, the number one thing that I think people struggle with is picking the right stocks to trade. I think that's probably the biggest culprit. And then as far as portfolio performance goes, one of the biggest issues I think people have is they're putting too much into one trade. You got to stay diverse. If I have 4 or 5 spread trades going, I try and make sure each trade is in a different sector. I might have a spread trade on the travel sector, and then I'll have a spread trade in the automobile sector, and then I'll have a spread trade in the semiconductors, tech sector, and then maybe I'll have a spread going in a consumer staple stock. And you see where I'm getting with that is like, especially if you're doing multiple trades at the same time, me personally, I try not to put all of them in the one sector, because if that sector takes a hit, you're gonna get hurt. But think of it as like 4 tires on a car, and each tire is a different trade. If you have all your trades in a different sector, and if one sector takes a hit, okay, so you got 1 flat tire, but you still got 3 good tires, right? So just kind of like an analogy of how to look at it. But yeah, this is, a lot of the stuff I talk about in the Discord, and I have a lot of fun with it and showing people, turning a light switch on for some people every now and then, little aha moments and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're interested in trading options in a more advanced way, so not your typical buy a call, I want the stock to go up, buy a put, I want the stock to go down. We take it a bit further than that, and we get a lot more creative, and we get multi-leg option trades. I write a lot of contracts, so I do short a lot of contracts. And when I say short a contract, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bearish, because you can short a put and be bullish, right? When I say short, I mean I'm actually like a little mini market maker. I actually creating the contracts, providing a little bit of liquidity to the option chain. Not very tiny amount compared to the big players out there, but nonetheless, it's the same way of trading. It's we're writing and creating contracts we're selling speculation. We're not buying speculation. And I think that's really where a nice edge is, and if you're interested in learning how to sell speculation and not buy speculation, I'm your guy. Most of my trades are sell to open, and my bread and butter over the years is I'm a contract writer. But yeah, no, this stream was great. We got a nice little group in the Discord hanging out. Breckle's here, Casey's here, Nikki's here. Objectively friendly. We were hanging out earlier, chatting in our chat a little bit. Brutal Trades here. He's in my coaching group. He's been writing contracts with me for a good little bit now. It's been several months now. Mad Maverick is here, our other coach, more of our stock equity swing trading coach. He does still trade options and does great at them. Very good option trader as well. But mainly equity. If you just trade stock and you like to swing trade equity, that he's your guy. And then Pookie's here. He's our lifetime coach and dives into a lot of other technical strategies and advanced strategies as well. But yeah, just to kind of close things up, we got over 400 people tuning in right now. Mixture of YouTube. I think bulk of it's on X. But if anyone's here for the first time, I always close my stream out like this. But if you're looking for 4 high probability trade setups sent to your inbox every morning at 9 a.m., check that very first link in the description. It doesn't cost a dime. It's free. I love giving away free things. That's what I like doing. So yeah, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback on those that watch list that goes out every morning. You get your entry, stop loss recommendation, profit targets, all that good stuff. Not financial advice, just for education and entertainment purposes. And also, if you're looking for a new home, check out our Discord. There's also a link in the description for our free section. If you want to just get your feet wet a little bit, like dip your toe in the water, join the free section, see how you like that, and then go from there. But we're always looking for new members to educate and sharpen their skills, if you will. And we have a lot of fun doing it. And we got some great coaches here and a great support network. And one thing about our Discord, I've been in the Discord for many years now, probably 4 or 5 years now. We don't put up with any drama, okay? Unlike other Discords that, there's toxic, people can be toxic and have drama. We don't put up with none of that. We're here to make money and get more education. And we're here to treat this like a business, as everyone else should be doing. And the first, anytime we see drama or someone being toxic, it's usually, cut off right there. We take care of it because we just want a good, friendly, and supportive environment for everyone to come every day to make money. But anyways, I hope everyone enjoyed. My name's The Swinging Bull with PB Alerts. And if you do end up joining the Discord, tag me in the chat. I'll come by and say hello. But I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their night. And I'll see everyone in the very next stream. Cheers.